Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to WhatMap, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Right, today we've got a map which is the product of taking a real-life height map of a real-life location. See if you can work it out just from the top down. I'll tell you in a short while where the real-life location actually was. But taking that original height map and working it, and then working it, and then working it and working it and working it and working it until there's virtually nothing of the original map left, but you've got something that you yourself are happy with. Now, the creator has done a mighty fine job of making a map that they are happy with. But is it one that we'll be happy with? Well, it doesn't really matter too much, because when it comes to
it's my first map,
that sort of thing, I think it's all about just enjoying the map building process for the first time and seeing how you get on. It's not a bad map at all. In fact, down at ground level, there's plenty of things to like about it. So hang along for the ride, won't you? But before we do that, we've got this to do. That's right, clicking that like button really does support the channel, gets me seen by more people and helps me grow a little bit more every single day. Thank you for your support. Today's map is Southern River Valley by Southern 154. It's all very southern today. I myself am also southern, but it's a southern England. Hey ho, there's your start square. Start square looks pretty good. We've even got a road coming in from the southern side. There's your terrain heights. Plenty of buildable space across the entirety of the map, which is good. And then if you want resources, we've got oil under the rivers, mostly for coloration, I imagine, and a few bits and bobs everywhere else. And then if you've got Sunset Harbour and want to do some fishing, we've got all of the little fishies. We've got a little bit of tuna in there as well, not too much. Okay, off to the workshop. What do we need? Well, it's a mass transit map. You will need mass transit for this one. And on top of that, a nicely written brief, straightforward, straight to the point description, and a one-click collection. One-click collection is a relatively short one as well, which is also a good thing, I feel. Hide it is there for all intersection marking tool, no controller. Right, we are using the new Caledonia, custom pavement theme and the realistic 2 LUT, and traffic managers listed as well. So we've got a few mods there which strictly aren't absolutely required, but if you want to have the road markings on the highways, intersection marking tool, you're probably going to want to have traffic manager anyway, full stop, no matter what map you're playing on. Is it strictly required? You know, it's one of those. But yes, the Caledonia theme, that's the one I chose for my first map as well. So yeah, a bit of a nod to that one. In fact, there are 2 versions of the Caledonia theme, new Caledonia theme. There's the concrete version for concrete pavements, and then there's the custom pavement. Here's our first intersection to have a little look at. I would say that looks quite nice. Quite nice indeed, and there's a little bit of the intersection marking under there as well, and that's all good as well. There's lots of good things today to talk about on today's map. Good things. Do like good things. So yes, so you've got 2 different versions. This one uses, as I chose back in my first map, the custom pavement, and I now am not so much a fan of it personally. Not that it's going to really matter too much on this particular review, because there are no areas where you can see the custom pavement. It's only when you put down the roads that have the pavements or buildings. You'll see, when we get to the asset review later on, is our next intersection there. Again, very nicely done. Not too bad at all. It almost looks hand drawn. Was that handmade? Southern, do tell us. But yeah, we're going to take this route down here. It's going to take us toward the next intersection. We're going to take a right on. That's going to take us to the back of the start square. But yes, so we'll actually see a bit of a pavement on the asset review section, because that has a concrete base. Here's that next intersection there. If we go straight on, that will take us into the start square, what I would call the front end. We're going to go in via the back door, and that's a good thing. Right, so yes, I do like the theme. I like the theme a lot. I think it just gives a very unique but realistic feel, and the cliffs are somewhat different, and we've got a nice sand texture as well on this one. But yeah, the custom pavement is down to personal taste, I feel. It just doesn't quite work for me. Not when I first saw it, I was super excited by it. There's your start square like that. We're going to jump across the river and join back up with the main highway over here. Yeah, with the custom, the actual, for me, it's the paving slabs. They don't scale very well. They are obviously very large, because it's like when you look at grass texture, you get down at ground level to grass texture. We could go off that way. We're going to go, I think we'll go straight on. Yeah, we look at the grass textures and you see these blades of grass, and when you compare it to the size of a house, they're huge, generally speaking. And so, yeah, it doesn't always scale. They look really good in isolation, but they're not. But also with the custom pavement is it's always aligned the same way. And if you want the pavement to be square to the street, then it doesn't necessarily work, which is where decals and custom work like that, proper modding, can make a big difference. So personally, I would go with the standard concrete version. But if you want to play with the custom, then you play with the custom. Again, it's not going to affect today's score in any way. There are other things that will affect today's score. Right, so onto the rail. The rail is pretty slick as well. Interesting choice here to go across this little bit of an inlet. And we'll certainly talk about that a little bit later on. And then it splits off. Now that we will join up with that right where we split there. We'll join up with that in a minute. It all comes together a little bit further down the line. Managed to avoid having pillars on the rail, which is a very nice thing. Good work. And then we're going elevated in a smooth and believable way. It stays relatively low to the ground as well. Doesn't need to go 3 miles up in the air, which is, again, shows some good skills. I'd like to see a little bit of good skills from the new creators. It shows that when they come along and take their next map to the next level, we're already at a very strong standing place. And that's what we have here. Anyway, I was going to tell you where the real life location was. You may have seen it in the workshop page as we skimmed over that. But it's Paris. Yes. Very little of the original Parisian height map is left from for all the work that's been done. But hey, listen, it's all about creativity and taking something it's just like as a base and then working on it and just, I mean, I've seen people thinking of you, Kanya, taken mountains from one location and just move them into another location. See, if it looks good, it looks good. We're just joining up with that other line now. Well, I promised you that would happen. And then we'll head off towards the edge of the map. So I would think about now, we'll take this intermission, and when we come back, we'll do all the usual stuff, and I'll show you around a few of the many feature areas. There's quite a few dotted around on the map, and they're all done to a pretty decent standard.
Do your cul-de-sacs look like this? Do you want them to look like this? Then you need the Beginner's Guide to the Perfect Cul-de-sacs by BonBonB. Click the information button now.
And we head back to Southern River Valley by 154 and the shipping routes, which do a little splitsy, a little shipping triangle there as well. This one heads up, I do believe this one's a dead end. Going through the start square though, so if you want to put a harbour right in the start square, you'll be good there as well. And managing to avoid any horrible clipping over a bit further upstream, so I'm good with that. And then if we head off this way, again, this one's going to go all the way across the map and right through the middle of that bridge there, so more fine work there too. And air routes, of course, air routes. Water flow in the start square, we have good strong water flow. I don't know what more to tell you. It's basically what you want on a base game style play or on a non-base game. We've even got a little lake in there as well if you want to turn that into a poop lake. I don't recommend it. So, right, the map as a whole, very little of Paris is left here. But what we've got is a somewhat fantastical, playable. I mean, this has plenty of interesting shapes and interesting areas as well. Does it inspire though? That's the question. And I don't see any reason why it shouldn't inspire some people. If this is what you're looking for, I think you're going to be very happy with it when you get building. Right, okay, feature areas. Here's one of these instances of a bridge, a rail bridge going over a lake that I would have gone all the way around the outside, or maybe actually, looking at it, I might have gone with a little bridge across here, across a narrow point. But across the middle of the lake, hey, listen, it was done well. Another thing that's done quite well is the aesthetics on the underwater here. That looks very swish. That looks very swish. When you get down under the water, which of course you wouldn't normally do in-game at all, it looks very clunky. But from up here, where you are going to get some screenshots, etc., that looks very cool. Like it. This, I don't know so much. I'm not really buying into the sandy harbour area. Plus, you can see the cliffs dropping away from the sandy area as well under the water. This area here just feels like the sand should be washing away. Certainly would do in that harbour area. I don't buy it at all personally, that area there. Over here we've got a dried out lake. Okay, now liking the rock work here, and we've got a few tufts of grasses and stuff. The old vanilla pier looks very good as well. And then we got an old dry river, including a little bridge going over. I don't know so much about that pillar. If we were to grab that pillar and drop it down out of sight, yeah, I prefer. I think that works better. So anyway, so yes, pillar under bridge, drop below ground level, and it's gone. And then we've got this dry river. You can still make out the dry river as it heads up. Now, it is a fantastical map. When we get to the top here, I like what's been done at the top here in a fantasy map. I wouldn't, if this is a realistic map, I would be scratching my head a little bit about up here. But I'm liking this a lot. This for me is one of the high points of the entire map. And but then, as regulars will know, I'm a big fan of nice river systems. Even the river system down here is quite pleasing. It's just a bit different. We've got a little lake area with 3 identical piers, and yeah, I think you can overuse those piers because they do look very, very well, they're identical. And it's not one of those that, like with the factory, you can use it in multiple ways. With those, once you use it more than once, it's very clearly just a copy. Also like to see a little bit of sand on the texturing just on that side as well. It's a minor thing. I can see why you wouldn't do it, but yeah. Here's that little thing there. You can see why the pier, I think this pier all on its own here has been abandoned because you can't use it anymore. But yeah, because obviously the rail's blocking the exit. So I think the story's been told quite nicely there. I have no problem with that. And then, of course, everybody's favourite factory, down here by the rail, and some of the old Park Life inspired rocks that came with the Park Life DLC way back when. Way back when we were excited by such things. This is the lake in the start square. I like that lake. That's another high point for me. It's totally buyable for me, and it should break up the start square quite nicely. And then, the essential lighthouse. Isn't she lovely? With some lovely essential trees. Right, heading back to the start square, which means it's time for the asset of the day. And before we talk about it, have a little look at the LOD, the LOD here. You get points where it's invisible. I played about this for a while, and yeah, there's a point between the 2 points where it becomes an invisible building. Anyway, it's the Stella-Haus Hamburg, Germany, Expressionist double corner building, 97 degrees, 105 degrees, Growable commercial high by Lilienherz, which is the catchiest name you will ever hear for an asset. Factoids, because factoids, let's do one about the building. It's a 10-story building, open on 3 sides, and was one of the first high-rise buildings in Hamburg. The plastered facade is divided by colossal pilasters, cornices and friezes. On the harbour side, it carries 4 half-relief sculptures, and above the front door is a relief of Poseidon as a boy. The decor is probably derived from the name of the house, since Stella is the Latin word for star, which I think we all knew anyway. Stella-Haus Hamburg, Germany. Lots of other words by Lilienherz. Lovely little side door as well. I like this, actually. It's a shame about that missing bit of lod. I don't know what's caused that, but I'll deal with it. It's probably my fault. Anyway, usually these things are. Anyway, right, we wheel this thing back. I'll find a spot for a thumbnail, and you can decide what you think of the map. Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Hit the I button now in the top right hand corner of your screen, or the link in the description. It will take you to the voting page where you can vote for free with a Facebook, Gmail, Apple, or a Patreon account. But what do I think of today's map? Well, aesthetically, it's pretty nice. I don't think the overall design, and again, as a map that's been tinkered with and tinkered with and tinkered with some more, it's become more of a doodle than anything. And I feel that the design of the map doesn't earn a 4th star. But down the ground level, it kind of does. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right at the very top end of 3 stars and give Southern some room to improve. Detailing. Do you know what? There's lots of very fine detailed areas. But again, it doesn't quite scream 4 stars. Again, it's the first map, so it's to be expected, but I'm going to go for just below very high. 3. Gameplay kind of feels the same, but I want to give credit. I don't want to say on all 3. It's a very high 3. It is kind of a very high 3, but I'm going to push it into a low 4. Just to reward and to encourage, because, if you play this, you won't be unhappy. Southern River Valley by Southern, a 154. It's not a map that's going to let you down. It works in all the right ways. It's just is it inspiring? Does it really scream? Does it invite you to try and do things? Does it sell you a story? All of those things kind of missing a little bit for me, but most people will disagree. And that's fine, just shoot me in the comments, it's fine. Anyway, if you're still here, you're part of the 20 now elites. Use the words of the day in the comments, score yourself some population points just for fun, and I'll be back tomorrow with another map in the What's Map series. Thanks for watching, see you then.